So if you're not willing to show up and do the things that you don't want to do like you want to do them, I'm gonna be honest, you're gonna fall off, because it's somebody who wants the same stuff as you. It's somebody who wants the same amount of money as you, the same car as you, the same crib as you, the same chick as you, the same lifestyle as you, who ain't got no off button. So in them days where you fall off, you gotta always think, man, somebody else is working right now. Somebody else is working towards what I want right now. I'm never gonna forget when I'm DoorDash and I could barely afford my freaking car note. I could barely put gas in my tank. I could barely afford something to eat, and I was still buying weed. It's a big difference between knowing what to do and doing what needs to be done. But even on a deeper level, discipline is not just doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, or doing things that need to be done when you don't want to do them. Discipline is actually doing the things that you don't want to do, like you want to do them, like it's your favorite thing to do. That's what true self-discipline is. So if you haven't gotten to this level yet, you aren't as disciplined as you truly think you are. A lot of years of my life was spent being 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Sometimes I want to be disciplined. Sometimes I want it to be comfortable. But if you truly want to become the man that you know deep down inside you can be, you're going to have to pick a side. Because the most successful people, they have one trait in common. They don't have an off button. So if one day you show up and then the next day you want to fall off, you are going to fall behind. Because let's put it into perspective. Okay, it's like, Quay, you're talking about successful people. They already made it. But that's the thing about it. They don't have to work. Why do successful people who already have everything they want in life still work 10 times harder than you? Think about LeBron James, the best player in the world. He does not have to go as hard. Spend $1 million a year on his body, if not more. Why do you think that he still works the way that he does, trains the way that he does, recovers the way that he does, is as disciplined as he is now? Because it's became a part of him. Because it's just who he is now. Why do you think these millionaires and billionaires still work 30 times as hard as you, but they can buy anything that they want? They don't have to work another day in their life and they'll still be well off. Their kids will still be well off, but they still show up every single day. Elon Musk, he don't have to do nothing else. He don't have to do nothing else to bring in no money for the rest of his life. He's still acquiring new projects. He's still taking on new things to bring in more money. Why is he doing that? Because they don't have no off button. But think about somebody that's in your lane, that's in the same area of life as you, who ain't got no off button. They hitting they early wake up every single day. They working a 9 to 5 like they own the company. They're working overtime hours like they'll stay there and work a 24-hour shift. But you, if you don't feel like going in, you gonna call in. You complaining about working overtime. You don't stick to a certain schedule. If you feel like sleeping in, you ain't gonna get up. But this other person, they're working towards the same things as you, but they don't have no off button. When it's time to go to the gym, they locking in. When they tired and they want to drop the weight, they don't want to hit that last few reps, they lock in and they get it done. But you go ahead and rack up the weight. You tell yourself, nah, I ain't got more energy in the tank, instead of pushing to a failure like the other person does. If you want to truly achieve anything that you want in life, if you want to become the best version of yourself, if you want to make 2026 the year that you just break out and you become an undeniable man, you cannot have an off button. I remember when I used to play basketball, bro, my button was always off, right? But then my dad, he'd have to get on to me. Lock in, take over, stop dribbling so high. Why you missed that shot? Get back on defense. He'd say these little things to get in my head. He wasn't trying to get in my head in the moment, but that's how I took it. Then I would lock in, then the switch would be on. But why did I have to rely on somebody else to get into that mode? But let's put it into perspective. Why do you have to wait on your favorite content creator to drop so that you can get motivated, so that you can get into that mode? Where there's somebody else who don't need a video. He wake up in that mode, he work all day in that mode, he go to sleep in that mode, and he repeats every single day. Why can't you be like him? Because if I sit back and think about all the things that I've been through in my life, I got more than enough fuel to stay in that mode. I think about 10th grade, I didn't make the team. So I transferred schools. Broke my knee before the season started. 13 days before I broke my knee, my best friend passed away in a car accident. So I felt completely out of place, right? Lost my best friend, broke my knee. I transferred schools to who? Now I'm at a school feeling lost. Now I'm at a school feeling alone because all my day ones, all my homeboys, they was at the previous school I was at. So now I don't want to be here at all, right? Then on top of that, I was going through a heartbreak too. Going through the pain, the physical therapy, the rehab, just to shake back, just to walk again. But not only did I have one knee surgery, I had two. 2 years later, I had a second surgery. Freak accident in the AAU basketball game. First game of the season. So now I feel like I was back at rock bottom, right? Back on crutches, back having to have surgery. And I remember this time, bro. It was a freak accident. I was able to get up. My teammates, they helped me up. I went to an ER, right? I was in there for a lot of hours. They ain't do nothing but like probably, I think, give me an x-ray, give me some crutches, tell me to leave. If we get back to the hotel, I'm like, man, you know what? I'm not going through this again. I'm not using no crutches. So I just start limping around. Get back home, schedule an appointment. I get an MRI. I'm just hoping and praying that I ain't got to have another surgery. I'm hoping and praying that the swelling can just go down, that I didn't break nothing, I didn't tear nothing. I'm going to be good. Results come back. Quay, you got to have a surgery. Boom. Everything else froze in that moment. Nothing else mattered. Felt like I was back at rock bottom. 2020, COVID come. We missed like 2 months. We missed like the last 2 months of school. We could only have 5 people at our graduation, right? Go to college for half a semester because I truly didn't want to go to college. I just knew that it'd make my mama happy. So I get down to college, I'm smoking every day. I ain't going to class, right? I'm trying to stay locked in the gym, but I want to smoke weed just as much as I want to go to the gym. Really, I want to smoke weed more than I want to go to the gym. So sometimes I smoke weed, then I go to the gym. Some days I'd be like, I'm gonna stop smoking. I'll stop smoking for like 3 days. Be locked in the gym. Then it just became a habit to be high in the gym. Then it just became a habit to just stop going to the gym and just get high. Then I realized that, man, I'm wasting my time here. I really don't want to be here. I want to start making content. I want to create a clothing brand. Clothing brand flops. But I'm being consistent with the content though. That was truly more my passion. So I wasn't just devastated about the clothing brand. I just realized that it wasn't for me. Then I started working jobs because I understand that I can't just stay in my mama crib, not be in school and not do nothing. So I'm gonna do my content, but I'm gonna give me a job too. My uncle gave me a job, delivering groceries. Start bringing in some money, stack up a little bit of bread, make a stupid purchase and buy a sports car. And instead of just going to work Monday through Friday, locking into my purpose, making my content on the weekends, I started going to see my homeboy who was still in school, chasing women, smoking, drinking, going to parties, right? It was a rinse and repeat cycle every single weekend. I'm looking forward to Friday so I can take off and drive an hour away to go pull up on my boy. We finna get the gas, right? We got the bottles. What's the play tonight? Where the females at? What type of fits I'm finna put on? Repeated cycle. But every single Sunday on the way back home, I'm like, man, I ain't making no content. Cause I'm not finna hop on camera high. I'm not finna hop on camera drunk, right? I'm not finna hop on camera in these type of environments. Cause it didn't feel like me. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I wanted to just live in the moment and enjoy the moment. So I was 1 foot in, I was 1 foot out. Then I was so undisciplined that there was a few instances in this job where, because of the job I worked at delivering groceries, you can determine your hours. So I remember this one day I didn't get back home till like 10 o'clock at night. Latest I ever got home, right? I'm just like, man, what the heck? Then I still got to get up at like 3 a.m. the next day. Like this ain't for me. I think 2 things happened that week. So that was one thing, and then I think something else happened to the point where I'm just like, man, I'm going home today. I think the second time I was like leaving work, it was probably gonna be like 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm like, bro, look, because I always wanted to come home and record a video right after work. But if I'm getting home at 10 o'clock, something ain't getting done. So I feel like the job was taking up too much of my time. But me being stupid, thinking that I was bringing in money already from the content, I could just quit the job and be good. But I got a car that I gotta pay for. And the job was my only income source. So I make a stupid decision. I quit the job, I'm done, I ain't coming back. My mama yelling at me, going off on me. Probably was thinking about putting me out, right? Because deep down inside, I knew I had the passion for the content, but I didn't have the money to support me going full time with that. But I was just ready to quit because I'm in my feelings. Because I want more time to myself to record my content. Then next thing you know, I started working at UPS, seasonal shift. One of the most stressful jobs that I never worked at. Like, I honestly don't recommend nobody work at UPS, especially during holiday season. It's all my, bro. If you don't work in a warehouse, you know, highly don't recommend it, right? They like me. They kind of overworked me, I'm not gonna lie. I was just there to get some bread. Was it enough? Absolutely not. So now I'm falling behind. New Year start, I don't go back to that job. I thought I was, and I'm like, bro, I'm not doing this. Start door dashing, right? Just to bring in a little bit of extra money. Door dashing throughout the day. It takes like $50 to fill up my tank. So I'm door dashing in my city, bro. By the end of the day, All I gotta do is enough. I barely had enough money to fill my gas tank up and get me something to eat. But you wanna know why? Because I was gonna make sure that I bought some weed too. So I'm door dashing all day just to get me a freaking biggie bag from Wendy's, put about $40 in my gas tank, and buy me a 3.5. And this every day. Get another job, working overnight at a hotel, right? You gotta pick people up from the airport, because the airport is like literally right across the street. You gotta pick people up from the airport to take people to the airport. And they got this like, these truck drivers, you gotta pick them up from like their truck stop, like probably 10 minutes down the road. So those are only places you going, to and from the airport, and then to and from the little trucking stop area, right? And so they was like telling you like, okay, you can only go to these places. You can only go to these places. We put a tracker on the van, this, that, and the third, right? Because I remember one time I had, went to get some Taco Bell, went to get something to eat. Not nothing crazy. Not like I'm running on, pulling up on females in the work van and stuff like that. Nah, because for one, it's an overnight job. But you might get hungry. Go get you something to eat on the way back. Little simple stuff, right? I remember this girl, she started working there. So it was this woman at the front desk. And then another thing too, I had already got in trouble one time before because me and another coworker, we were smoking weed. We would just smoke weed in it was his truck. We would smoke weed because it's real slow. So we would smoke weed in his truck. I remember one time, the lady at the front desk, she snitched on us, right? So I got in trouble about that. Stop smoking. Another dude in the van that I had to take to the airport, I want to say, he snitched. Said that we were smelling like weed or something. So I'm already getting in trouble at this job a little bit, getting like these warnings here and there because I'm smelling like weed, smoking weed. Everything about it, I did not want to put that weed down because I'm smoking by myself too on the way to work, right? But let's get back on point. So it was this female who worked at the job. She just started there. I was working a little bit longer than she was. The lady at the front desk was like, can you go pick up such and such? She ain't got no way to work. Keep in mind, probably a week ago or 2 weeks prior to this, we was told by management that we can't do nothing but go to the hotel and to the freaking, the airport and to the trucking stop. So I'm not thinking nothing of this. This is a coworker. She need help to get to work, right? I'm like, can I drive my car? She like, nah, you can't drive your car, take the van. The lady at the front desk is telling me to take the van and go pick this girl up. She stayed like 7 minutes away. So I go pick the girl up, bring her to work, right? I ain't heard nothing about it. I ain't think nothing of it. My day just went according to plan. So I get home, because I get off work probably like 7 a.m., get home, go to sleep, wake up, a few hours later so I can get up and get ready to DoorDash. And I just check my schedule to see the next time I go to work. And it's like something you have to log in on or something like that, because you get an email when your schedule comes through. So I'm trying to log in. I can't log in, right? I'm like, bro, what the heck going on? Did they change my password, this, that, and the third? So I don't think that's enough. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna try again later. Maybe the system is tripping right now. Maybe an hour, maybe not even an hour later. But my manager, she takes me this paragraph, right? Basically, I got fired for picking the girl up. I told you can't go nowhere but, this place and this place, woody whoop. You went up and go pick her up in the van. After I told you, da-da-da-da. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, bro, the lady at the front desk, she was like, go pick her up and I couldn't drive my car. So I'm thinking they all, conspired against me. But either way it goes, I didn't even say them back. I left her on red. Because at this point, I'm like, bro, I'm over it. But even in that moment, though, I'm like, I wasn't completely devastated. Because I felt like in that moment, I knew that was a door closing and another one was finna open for me, right? But throughout this entire time, I had to realize and accept that I put myself in these situations. Because if I would have just stayed at the one job that I was working at initially that my uncle put me on, I wouldn't even been in that position. But I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was moving too fast, right? I didn't have the discipline to just endure the things that I did not like doing. I didn't have the discipline to show up to that job each and every day like I was owning the company, right? I didn't have the discipline to make the sacrifices to quite just stop freaking smoking weed. I didn't have the discipline to think, let me batch record my content so if a day comes where I gotta work a long time, I still got a video in a vault to upload instead of just uploading and recording and editing a video the same day. But I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I didn't have the discipline. I wasn't going all in. I remember after that, my girl, she already had some family out here in Texas because I stayed in Louisiana. But my girl, she had some family out here, some cousins, right? Her sister out here. And we was both just thinking, like in the moment while we was still in Shreveport, we both just thinking like, bro, we got to get out there because apparently her cousin, he was like, he had an opportunity for the both of us. Like I can start working at his apartment complex that he managed. I can start working at a temp agency. He can get me on immediately. So long story short, we ended up just taking a leap of faith and moving out there, right? We had to stay with her cousin. Then we ended up staying with her sister. But we took the leap of faith with no money saved up and just moved out there. She had a job. I had a job. So boom, now all of a sudden in the blink of an eye, I'm in Texas. But I had just got fired from a hotel job for something stupid. But keep in mind, I was thinking that, okay, this was an opportunity because that was one door closing, another one opening for me, right? So I went from barely being able to afford just the car note on my car to now going out, immediately having a job, no interview, no nothing, making $20 an hour at a temp agency, stacking my bread, being able to get paid every single week, making 20 an hour. Every week making 20 an hour. But then I end up getting transferred to a different complex. Now this complex right here was trash. It was run down. It was dirty. So I was doing apartment maintenance, right? So I had to kind of finesse my resume because I'm gonna be honest, it was like make-readies and apartment maintenance. So like, I didn't even know this existed when I was still living in Louisiana. So of course I had to finesse my resume because this is work I never even did before. I didn't know it existed. So I get transferred over to this different complex, right? I had to start working under a different temp agency, but I was only there for like a week or two. And I'll tell you why. Because yeah, we was doing make-readies, but it was a much smaller property, so it wasn't really that many units to do, right? And there was just one particular day where I had to do this work order. I had to fix this lady's sink. But I go under the sink and she got like a couple different things under the sink, but it's roaches all under the sink. So in my mind, I'm like, I cannot work on this because I'm not finna try to, change your sink out. For one, I don't know how to change a sink out. I don't know how to change your sink faucet, right? So I'm gonna have to look it up and see how to do it. But for two, you got roaches crawling from through your cabinets and on your ceiling. So I'm not doing that. So I tell the lady, like, look, bro, I can't do this, bro. I cannot work in an environment where these people got roaches. I'm not doing that. So I ended up leaving that job. Then I had a homeboy who stayed in Louisiana who moved out here before me. He also did apartment maintenance, but he was under a completely different company. He like, look online, see what they got, apply for it, whatever the case may be. So I wasn't able to work at the same property he was working at, but I was still able to get on at a property. Much bigger property, right? But it was a lot of work to do, right? But it was cool. Like I was working here for a good little minute. You know what I'm saying? Bringing in some money, this, that, and the third. I was good. After working there, I think I was there for like at least like a year or something like that, 9 to 12 months, something like that. But I was working there for a good bit. But in the back of my mind, I was back in the same position where I wanted to just quit and go all in on my content. Quit and go all in on TikTok Shop, right? Because during this time, I was bringing in a good bit of money from TikTok Shop too. Like TikTok Shop for a few months in a row was bringing in like double what I was making at my job. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just quit one day. And I remember at this specific job, like I was doing the make-readies and I was also doing the apartment maintenance, but then we had new management come in. Like our previous manager, I liked, like our first manager we had, or the first maintenance manager that we had, he was cool. Like I liked him, he was cool, right? He was always gonna help us, teach us how to do things. But then he quit. Like it was the job was stressing him out, he quit. And that was the downfall right there, because we ended up getting new management. Because even our actual property manager, she quit too, right? So we had two new managers. We had a new maintenance manager and we had a new just property manager, right? Everything started to change when they showed up. But this new maintenance dude, he wasn't really as helpful. He was just more so do this, do that, do this, do that. Like he'll show you things here and there, but he wasn't as hands-on as the previous manager was. But also, a lot of my job titles or job descriptions, the things that I was able to do got stripped away to the point where I was basically demoted, but my pay was still the same, right? Because basically I wasn't doing make-readies no more. I was just cleaning up the property, but they had me doing basically busy work. Like if this was a typical 8-hour shift, the work that they had me doing, like it was basically a little sheet of paper of stuff that they had me do every day. It doesn't take 8 hours to do it. And a lot of this stuff was stupid. So I'm gonna be honest, a lot of this stuff I wasn't even doing. Because like now I just feel like y'all got me here to do busy work. I'm not doing all that. I'm not going for that. Like, yeah, my pay's still the same. I could have just thugged it out. But it's like I feel like I already felt like I was wasting time just being at the job all day. Right? Because I'm listening to the self-improvement content. I'm doing this, that, and third. I ain't gonna lie, some of these make ready videos, and if you go back to some of my older videos on YouTube, some of these videos, I'm in the vacant apartments just recording content. Right? Because that's all I was focused on. But I remember one day, bro, I went on break. I think we had a 30-minute break, maybe an hour, something like that, 30 minutes to an hour break. I remember one day on break, I'm just pondering over this thought in my head. Should I just leave? Because I remember I had already put my 2 weeks in. I had already put my 2 weeks notice in. But I'm like, should I just leave? So I'm probably like 3 days into my 2 weeks notice. I just left, bro, on my break. Because keep in mind, like, let's say if the break was 30 minutes, I was on break for like an hour. If the break was an hour, I was on break like an hour and a half. Nobody texted me. Nobody came looking for me. Nobody knew. So in that moment, I'm like, bro, y'all don't even know what I'm doing, right? This is how little value you know what I'm saying, adding to y'all. So I'm like, I'm gonna just go home. So I just left and quit that day. I'm like, I'm done with this. Went in on the TikTok shop. But I didn't even have a strategy on TikTok shop. I was just getting lucky going viral. I was just promoting viral products, doing the affiliate marketing. So once the product wasn't as viral, then I wasn't getting as many views. I wasn't getting as many sales. So things started to slow down. And before you knew it, I was in a hole, right? Before you knew it, I didn't have that consistent money coming in every single month. So now I'm getting behind on bills. All because I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. All because I didn't have the discipline to learn the skill set to still be able to bring in the money from the TikTok shop, but still have the safety net of the job paying me every 2 weeks. Because I didn't have the self-discipline, because I wasn't showing up to the job like I was the manager, right? I wasn't doing the work like my life depended on it. You get what I'm saying? I was in my head like everything gotta happen on my timing. Or they played with me. They was playing on my time, so let me quit. I'm gonna show them. Because I didn't have the discipline, right? So this is just a few different stories about a lot of things that I went through. I remember a point in time where I started working at the job that I'm working at now. But I was still recovering financially from the period of time where I wasn't at work after I had quit and the TikTok shop had fell off, right? And I think back to this time where I got in a car wreck. I didn't have any insurance at the time because I didn't have the money to pay for it. I was already behind on my car. So my car was already pending being repossessed. And I just got in a car wreck with no insurance. And it was a hit and run at that. So I had to suffer that loss. Dealt with a law firm, they was trash. They dropped my case. Like I didn't even drop them, they dropped me. So I had to just take an L on that one. All because I didn't have the discipline to just stack pay. Because when I was making that TikTok shop money, oh, nothing mattered. I was buying whatever I wanted to. And the car was the thing in question that I spent the most money on. Stupid. That was the stupidest financial decision I ever made because the car I had before that was nothing wrong with it, right? It was a lot cheaper. So why did I do it? I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I had the money at the time. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. But what is the theme in all these things that I'm telling you? I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I wanted things to happen on my time, so I didn't have as much discipline to endure. I didn't have my schedule and my days set up to a point where it reflected me doing what needs to be done. I didn't show up and do the things that I didn't want to do like I wanted to do them. So what are these things in your life? What are these situations that you put yourself in your life? Because that's another thing. Every situation that I just told you about, other than breaking my knee, even I can take accountability for that. And like my best friend passing the car wreck, right? Every other situation than that, I put myself into it. So I can't point the finger at nobody like, man, they did this, they did that. Nah, Quay, is you. You got to look in the mirror and take accountability for that. So as I learn and reflect on my life through all these different scenarios and situations, I'm like, how can I avoid those things? What lessons can be learned from those things? How can I have as much discipline as possible to make sure that I don't put myself in these situations again? So even if it's like a day when I don't want to work that extra 3 hours at my job, I'm like, I remember when I didn't have no money. I remember when I didn't have unlimited overtime. I remember when I quit a job out of nowhere because I just felt like it was my time to go all in. And I suffer from that. So let me work till the freaking sun go down because I got the opportunity to do that. Let me stack as much paper as possible. So if I get into a freak accident again, I get into another hit and run, I make sure I'm good. right? I make sure I can get a freaking rental car because I got insurance. You get what I'm saying? Let me make sure that I can be as disciplined as possible. How can I increase my discipline? Doing things I don't necessarily want to do. Okay, I'm gonna start waking up 2 hours early, right? I'm gonna start getting up at 4:30 a.m. I'm gonna start going to the gym 4 days a week from 5 to 6 a.m. I'm gonna start working 10 hours every single day. I'm gonna start getting up early on the weekends too when I know I want to sleep in, right? I'm gonna start batch recording my content. I'm gonna start recording content every single day so that I can make sure I'm ahead on my videos, and the same videos that I record don't gotta be the same ones that I post that day. I'm gonna make sure that I'm ahead. But what does this look like for you? Because it's all a matter of how bad do you want it. Because if I wasn't locked in, I'd be going through these same situations, right? If I didn't make the sacrifices, I'd be going through these same situations. Another thing, I had to put the freaking weed down. Why are you spending so much money on weed every single month, every single week, but you ain't got no savings, right? I always tell myself, man, I'm gonna stop smoking right now. Lock back, I'm gonna stop smoking right now so I can save some more money. I stop smoking for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month at most, right back to it. So it's all about how bad do you want it, bro? How many sacrifices are you willing to make? How can you show up and do the things that you don't want to do like you want to do them? Like you be excited to do them? Because that's going to show that you ain't got no off button. No matter what you're going through, no matter what just happened in your life, no matter what your circumstances are, how can you show up every single day with enthusiasm to do the things that you don't want to do? Because that's where your true fulfillment is going to come from. Knowing that you did the work when you didn't want to do it. Knowing that you didn't lie to yourself when you said that you was going to do something, but you actually did it, right? Knowing that if a freaking unforeseen event happened in your life, that you got money put to the side to pay for it so you ain't got to stress about it. Knowing that it can always be worse. I remember when I was DoorDash, I'm never going to forget when I'm DoorDash and I could barely afford my freaking car note. I could barely put gas in my tank. I could barely afford something to eat, and I was still buying weed. I remember when I couldn't walk, right, on 2 separate occasions. So I use those things as fuel every single day. I remember that my days is limited because my best friend passed away in a car wreck. So at any given moment, it could be your time. So I think about these things every single day. And I'm like, man, how can I stop now? Because I remember when I just had a room because I was still staying in my mama crib. But now I got my own apartment in a completely different state. So how could I not go hard and show up for myself every single day? How could I not ignore the way that I feel and still do the work every single day? It's all about not having that off button, bro. I know you ain't gonna always feel like going to the gym, but your goals don't care about that. Your goals don't care that you're tired. That money that you wanna make, it don't care that you don't feel like putting the work in, that you don't feel like working in overtime. So this is the mindset that you gotta have going into 2026. We ain't got time for no New Year's resolution. 2026 has already started. So if you're not willing to show up and do the things that you don't want to do like you want to do, I'm gonna be honest, you're gonna fall off because it's somebody who wants the same stuff as you. It's somebody who wants the same amount of money as you, the same car as you, the same crib as you, the same chick as you, the same lifestyle as you, who ain't got no off button. So in them days where you fall off, you gotta always think, man, somebody else is working right now. Somebody else is working towards what I want right now. You gotta have a competition to the point where you ain't gonna lose. You gotta be uncomfortable. You gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable. Because this is what's going to drive the most success. You got to remember all these downtimes that you had. You got to remember all these dark phases that you had and use that as fuel every single day. Like if I went through that and I made it through that, what I'm going through right now ain't nothing. So let me keep putting the work in. Because I'm telling you, bro, if you have this mindset, you will be able to accomplish anything that you set out for yourself. But it all starts with the self-discipline. You cannot solely rely on motivation. You can't rely on the content. You can't rely on the books. You can't rely on somebody to say, okay, you need to lock in now. You need to stop doing that. You can't wait till you go through something bad to be like, okay, I gotta get my life right. You have to stop being reactive to life. Okay, I just got in a wreck, I gotta lock in. I just got fired from my job, I gotta lock in. The girl just broke up with me and cheated on me, I gotta lock in. How about you already be locked in so when those things happen, you ain't tripping? This is what you gotta do every single day. It starts with not having an off button. Think about the most successful people in the world who work 10 times harder than you, who got less time, but more things to take care of, but they still get more done. Who could not work for the rest of their life and take care of their kids, but they still show up every single day looking for new ways to improve, new ways to get better, new ways to make money. The wealthiest person in the world still work. So what is your excuse? So if you want to take your mindset and your physique to the next level, you're interested in becoming the best version of yourself, the most attractive version of yourself, the most disciplined version of yourself to become an undeniable man, click the link in the description and pinned in the comments. Apply for my one-on-one coaching. I'll see if you're a good fit. We'll hit the ball rolling. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.